Today I'm doing a little video on some of the things to do with international trade. You needed to have read the chapter on Tuesday in order to fully understand this. I'll briefly talk about a couple of key points and then give you a little activity. Shouldn't take you too long today. We'll discuss it more in school next week. So, 6 things to consider when you are thinking about expanding to trade internationally is size of the market. So that means how many people are in the country you're thinking about moving to. Economic growth and levels of disposable income. So that's just how much money people have got in that country and how much of it is disposable. Ease of doing business, political environment. Obviously, you can imagine some countries where that would be easier to do than others. Others have got lots of restrictions and red tape and things like that. Exchange rate. So how much is your country's currency worth compared to the local currency? Domestic competition. So whatever your business does somebody also do that, but in that country already? So will that affect things? And infrastructure, is it possible to do your business there with the facilities that they've got available? So the size and growth of the market, this is one of the most important factors. Does it justify the investment and risk involved? You're not going to want to make a shop exclusively for a country with a tiny population if it's going to cost you a lot of money, because there's not going to be enough customers to recoup your investment. And also think about how large and fast the market segments are growing. So if you are selling mobile phones, perhaps if you go to a developing country where they're getting more and more mobile phones each year on year, then that might be a good thing to do there. But you've got to think about if that makes sense with what information you know. So, economic growth and levels of disposable income. So you can think about some countries which are growing economically, which are improving. And when that happens, then some more people get some more disposable income. So what they need beyond basic necessities, food, water, rent. And then they can perhaps spend money on your product. So that's something to consider. Ease of doing business, political environment. So again, you can't put a number on it like some other things like population and economics, but you can consider it still. If there's some things going on, if there's civil unrest, if there's some very difficult political and legal systems in the country, can you justify going there or not? And is the intellectual property of your business protected given the illegal things in their country? If you go to a country with your idea and then someone just copies you, is there sort of a legal way you can stop them, or is it just allowed in that country? It's different things to consider with different politics and law. Exchange rates. So if you remember spiced, strong pound, imports cheaper, exports dearer, similar sort of things going on here. You want to be wealthy compared to the country that you're going into for lots of reasons, like setting up your business. You'll have the money to do that. You will be able to pay local workers a decent living without it costing you too much. But then what profits you make when you try to translate them back into your money might not be as much. So for that reason, maybe you want to go to a different sort of country where it might cost you a lot to set up initially, and it might cost you a lot to pay your workers, but the profit you make when you turn it back into British pounds is a lot more money. Okay, so you've got to think about all these different things. There's pros and cons on both sides of it. Domestic competition. So you can't just go to another country and expect to be successful, even if you've got a good product. You've got to think about what local businesses are already doing. Okay, you can't just say I've got some amazing sort of chocolate ice cream and expect to go to Italy and sell it. They've got their own ice cream there. You're not necessarily going to be successful. So if you've got a new product or an emerging product or something with a USP, then it's going to be better for you because you haven't got the domestic competition, or something niche perhaps, or something very skilled, artisanal, unique. That's going to be much better for you than just some standard run of the mill thing that domestic competition can do, but with lower costs because um, they're already in that country. They don't have to relocate. They don't have to arrange things long distance. They don't have to deal with exchange rates and all sorts of import export things. So just consider that. And infrastructure is the last one. So physical infrastructure. So it's things like transportation. Is there a way into places? Is there good um, travel links? You don't want to. You might be the first shop of its kind in some very remote part of India, but it might be very difficult to do if you haven't got any good roads in there or a good flight or any sort of transport in there. So you've got to think about that, but also things like broadband internet. How good is that? And anything else you need. Um, how how is that infrastructure set up? Are you going to have to set up your own infrastructure, which some things will do, like Coca-Cola, Apple, Amazon, all that. When they go to places, they'll have to set up their own infrastructure, but they're big enough businesses that can afford that. Okay, so that's the basics. And what you want to do now is imagine that you are each of these countries. So companies. You're a Spanish high-end clothing company. Um, you're also a Russian budget drinks company, a Japanese electric car company, Mexican fast food chain, Australian jewelry company. And what you want to do is you want to think about what countries to expand to. And there are your choices: Argentina, Brazil, Canada, China, Djibouti, France, Iceland, Ireland, India, Liechtenstein, Malta, Monaco, Netherlands, Nigeria, Pakistan, Russia, Sweden, Tonga, USA, and Western Sahara. And what I want you to do is think about the best countries. It doesn't have to be exactly three, but just consider more than one. The best countries to expand to and the worst countries to expand to for each of those, and some reasons. Okay, with the things we talked about today. So you can look stuff up, go on the internet, find out population sizes, exchange rates, what economy is like, what the political system's like, if things are remote or have got good transport links, if the internet's good there or not. Think about that, and maybe you can think about how close you are to that country, because it's going to be less expensive for Spain to expand into Italy or France that it borders than it would be for Spain to expand into India or something like that. So think about all those things, and I don't mind You can do it one of two ways. You can either have a discussion in the chat if more than one of you are there at the same time doing this, or if not, then just write up some thoughts and upload them for me. Okay, so that's everything for today.